appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. I know you've had a long day. You did, 17 miles today between Unicoi and Dix Creek Gap here at mile 69.
Yeah, my fitness tracker on my phone said 22, but that's like side trails, and so I think I probably did at least 20 today with all my walking around.
Nice, man. So let's start with the basics. What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Aaron Merritt. I'm from Michigan, born and raised, and I live in Massachusetts now.
Sweet. So have you've done any hiking out there in Massachusetts?
I lived up in Maine for a couple of years prior to Massachusetts, and I did a couple sections of the AT up in Maine.
Gotcha.
But just day hikes, nothing like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is a heck of a journey, man. I'm happy for you. I'm kind of envy the position you're in. Everything's new, and yeah. How did you get kind of introduced to the AT? What was kind of the journey that got you to this point out here right now?
Like back in 2012, I went on the Rolling Thunder run to Washington, D.C. It's a big motorcycle rally they do every Memorial Day. And we rode down Skyline Drive in Virginia, and we just happened to stop, and I seen a marker that said Appalachian Trail Crossing. And so I got home and I looked it up, and pretty much been wanting to do it since then.
Nice. Did you grow up in Massachusetts, or what kind of? Can you give me some kind of timeline?
No, it's just I have a bunch of friends from the Army that live out there, so I moved to New England from Michigan.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. So you're Army guy. You were in for a little bit.
Yep. I was in from 2001 to 2004.
Gotcha. Do you want to talk a little bit about that experience? Maybe some of the, I guess. Let's keep it in context. How do you think maybe the Army experienced, how do you feel that prepared you for the AT?
It taught me how to embrace the suck. Like when you're coming up a big climb and it hurts and everything hurts, I don't know, I just deal with it. It's what it is. Mm-hmm. You know, I start to think about the shit that I'm seeing that I wouldn't see if it didn't hurt, you know what I'm saying? Because it's the only way to see some of that stuff is to get up there on foot. There's not roads through all the cool spots.
Yeah, gotcha. I mean, I know a little bit earlier we were talking about how you guys ruck it with, like, what is it, 90 pounds, 100 pounds?
Yeah, we would do between 80 and 90 pounds and anywhere between 15 and 30 mile ruck marches, but it's all flat ground as a whole different, I mean, like some hills, but we're rucking on roads. So it's a little different experience, a lot easier.
Gotcha. So do you think there's any carryover in terms of like your physical conditioning, whether it be good or bad, whether you have some kind of maybe like injuries that you've sustained during that time?
I mean, my knees hurt a little bit when I'm going over the mountains, but I mean, not really. I lucked out. My body did pretty good.
Gotcha. Do you see other, I mean, I think it's pretty well known that there are a lot of guys who are either former or even current military that come out here. Have you met other personnel?
Yeah, the first 3 days I was on the trail, I hiked with an older gentleman. He was in his 50s, but he was another disabled combat vet, and I probably would have kept hiking with him, but he was only getting between 7 and 8 miles a day, and I wasn't ready to stop, so I kept on rolling.
Gotcha. What do you think are some of your, I mean, I know we talked about how you kind of got introduced to the trail, but what do you think were some of the inspirations or some of the driving forces behind you coming out here? Because I know it takes a lot. I mean, you're putting a lot of things on hold in life, or maybe you don't even see it that way, but for a lot of people that is the case. They're putting a lot of things on hold, making a lot of sacrifices to be out here. What was the driving force for you coming out here?
Well, I got approved for VA disability about 3 years ago, and I'm 100% disabled. I can't work, and they take pretty good care of me financially. And I was married though when I first got that, and I went through a divorce last year, and so over the winter, I just got to thinking, I mean, what's holding you back now, man? You don't got a job you have to leave behind. You don't have anybody back home you're going to leave behind. You should just go do the trail.
Mm-hmm. Was this something that you were thinking about doing for a while, but maybe the relationship held you back from it, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I've definitely, like, how long is, it's about 15 years since, shit, how long ago was 2012? I'd have to do the math.
10 years ago, man.
Yeah, 12 years ago. I mean, I've been thinking about it since then, but I mean, life gets busy. It's hard. It's a big commitment when you come out here. You know, you gotta make sure everything's squared away, and this is probably the first time when all the pieces lined up where nothing was holding me back and I had the opportunity, so I took it.
Gotcha. Well, I'm glad you're out here, man.
I love it.
What has your experience been up to this point? If you had to describe, however short or long you need to describe it, like, how do you feel your experience has been up to this point on trail?
Oh, it's been absolutely wonderful, man. I've nearly everybody I've met has been amazing, cool to talk to. This is the second hostel I've stayed at. Both have been, actually the third. Mountain Crossings is a little bit different. That's just kind of a bunkhouse, but I'll probably hostel the whole way. You know, whenever I can, every 3 or 4 days at least, I'll try to find one because it's been an amazing experience. But yeah, it's been humbling for sure as well. I mean, like, there's been a lot of situations where I was just like, holy shit, this is hard. But then I think about the fact that there's going to be something else around the next bend or over the top of the hill that's going to be cool to see. You know, even when it's like foggy and you look off the mountain and you can't see a view, there's like stuff on the mountain to look at that's right there. So I found that it kind of makes you find the good in situations out there sometimes, but it's always out there on the trail. There's always something that's pretty amazing and makes it worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. Do you find, because I know you used, at least when talking with you, you used the word suffering a lot. Do you find a joy within suffering sometimes, maybe?
I think so. I mean, even though there's suffering, and I use that word, there's still some form of, like, it's like control almost, like, because I'm in control of the situation. Even though it hurts, I'm in control and I can keep going. Or if I want to stop, I can. So, I mean, even though it sucks sometimes, I like being in total control of the situation.
What do you think? Some people can endure more suffering than others. You've endured a lot of suffering in your life. What do you think it is that enables one person to endure suffering more so than the next man? Would you like to maybe shed some light on that?
I think it has a little bit to do with life experience and upbringing. Some people are raised in situations where they're allowed to give up. They're allowed to, take the easy path, and some people aren't. And if people are creatures of habit, so you've lived a life where, you only have to do the things that you want to do, then I think you'll probably be less prone to dealing with hardship.
Gotcha. So maybe just a lot of nurture, like the whole nature versus nurture argument. There's probably a lot of both going on, but the environment you grow up in is a big...
And then I think some people are just born with it because, I've met people that were probably nurtured their whole life growing up too, that, there's some, they can deal with some stuff. So, I think that's part of it. And then I think part of it's just got to be internal. I think some people are just built that way.
Where do you think you fall within those kind of three categories?
I've lived a pretty hard, rough life and made a lot of bad decisions and had to deal with a lot of consequences. And so I think I'm just kind of used to it.
Gotcha. Have you, so what is your interactions with other people been like out here? Because I see a lot of people struggling, and you've said that you've kind of been humbled on this trip, but you're finding a lot of happiness in that. You find other people to share that joy with?
Oh, absolutely. I haven't really ran into anybody that hasn't been cordial out here, like every person I've passed, I've at least said hello to, and most everybody I've introduced myself and they've introduced themselves, and a good majority as well held serious conversations with. That's one of the real amazing things I think about it out here is just it's kind of a judgment-free zone, and everybody's just happy to, I don't know, I guess maybe that's why it is. Everybody's just happy to be out here.
Yeah, I totally agree. So you're out here, you're doing it. Everything that that's happened in your life is kind of, it sounds cliche, but it's led you to this moment. Did you have any kind of personal expectations as to maybe what this journey, this trail might provide you going forward in life? Is there something that you're really trying to get out of this experience?
I just want to see a bunch of cool stuff. That's really it. I did a couple of years ago, I did a 48 state road trip. I just packed a pickup truck with a bunch of camping equipment and took off for like 3 months. And there's a lot of stuff you can't see from a car or a truck. And so I'm checking that stuff out now.
Nice, man. So, you're here, you're about to get into your first state. You're about to get out of your first state, go into North Carolina. So you're just about finished with Georgia. I'm sure you've learned a whole lot out here. There's a very short learning curve in a short amount of time here. Is there anything that really sticks out to you that you've learned yourself that maybe you could share with others?
I would say try to stay away from spending a ton of money on gear until you get out here, because you're not going to know what you need until you get out here. You can go on any of the internet forums and people will say you need this or you need that, but do 40 or 50 miles on the trail and you'll pretty much know what you need. And when it starts to hurt and it starts to suck, just think about what's around the bend.
Heck yeah, man.
Heck yeah.
Hey, I appreciate your time, brother, and I wish you the best of luck going forward. I know you're going to kill it, and I'm happy for you. So
right on, thank you.
Appreciate you.